Welcome back, everyone. Thank you all so much for coming in to hang out with us. Thank you, Kyle T. Webster, for that awesome draw along you were just doing. It's always a pleasure to watch you work, folks. My name is VooDoo Val, and I'm going to be your host and artist for another awesome design off. This is going to be a cool, like, D&D fantasy-themed design off, and I am joined by my new friend, Meredith. How are you, Meredith? How are you feeling today?
Hey, I'm really pumped to be here. Excited to get started.
I'm super stoked too. I think this is going to be so much fun. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about the work you like to do for anyone in the chat who may be unfamiliar with you and your work. And then I'll jump into a little bit about how folks can get involved in this epic design off.
Yeah, I am an illustrator based in LA. I really love drawing with people in really dynamic, great kind of graphic ways, and kind of translating that across multiple different themes. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Awesome,
Here to draw
awesome.
some people.
Yeah, I'm the same way. You guys know I love to paint portraits, and so this is going to be like the perfect duel of fantasy characters, I think. For those of you in chat who've never been here, you don't know what the design off is, you don't know how to get involved, and you're wondering what the heck is going on. Basically, what we're going to do today is Meredith and I are going to design some characters according to the like fantasy theme, and we encourage all of you folks to get involved and design along with us. Now, Meredith and I are both illustrators, but that doesn't mean that you have to be an illustrator to participate in this challenge. So she and I are going to be drawing, but if you're a hand letterer or a UI UX designer, even if you are somebody who does like graphic design and icon design, if you folks want to try your hand at the fantasy theme that we're going for today, please feel free to create any work that you would like while you're hanging out with us in chat, and you can actually tweet it to us or post it on Instagram using the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off, because towards the end of our stream tomorrow, before we say goodbye to Meredith, we are actually going to take a look at any and all designs that you folks have created, so we can give you a little shout out, kind of give you guys a bit of an art spotlight and just check out what you folks were designing with us. So without further ado, I'm going to jump over here to our little dual screen here so we can get going. And also, folks, feel free if you want to post a couple of ideas or any cool things in chat. I know some folks in chat may be looking for some inspiration and some ideas to work off of. And you guys know me, I'm always down to incorporate some of your ideas into my paintings. So let's do it. Panda says, did I hear Dungeons and Dragons? Yes, you did, Panda. Welcome.
I'm ready.
Yeah, she says, what's the challenge? Panda, you are gonna love this because you basically get to design D&D characters or fantasy-themed characters, and I know that that is literally your bread and butter. So feel free to jump in, and like I said, post some ideas in chat, because I'm just gonna go on. I think I'm gonna do like a magical warrior girl, because that's kind of my jam. What are you getting into today, Meredith?
So I recently got into D&D from quarantine. I never really like accepted it. So I actually played my second session last night. So I'm drawing a character which is like this half-orc monk woman.
Nice.
Yeah, because I just have really enjoyed building that character. It was way more homework kind of than I expected up front, but it's been really fun just to kind of like unleash that inner fantasy nerd side of me.
I'm so here for it. I feel like any chance I get, I try my best to like unleash a little bit of nerdiness, like even when I know that I have to be like highly professional and do something that's like maybe a little more tame. I'm always just like, can I put some magic in this? Can I add can I make something magical? Can I make this a monster? Can I give her a sword? Is that acceptable?
Yeah.
Sam Peterson is like, aw, yes. Anthony says, yas, fantasy. I knew you folks were gonna love this. Val, what are you creating? I'm going straight for awesome warrior magical girl. But like I said, I am so open to people tossing ideas into the chat so that I can incorporate whatever into what I'm doing. The only plan that I really have is I know it's going to be a female character, and I'm giving her like outrageously large shoulder pads, like pauldrons, because I feel like no warrior girl is complete without like obnoxiously large shoulder plates. Um, so she's gonna look. I mean, she's already buff, but she's gonna look like wildly strong. Is the deal here? Can I put a wizard hat on it? Yes, you can, Sam. You can put a wizard hat on literally anything. You could put a wizard hat on a cucumber and it would still look awesome. So go for it. Um, you can still add a wizard hat to it even if you're designing logos, honestly. I don't know about you, Meredith, but I think I would respect somebody's logo even more if it included a wizard hat. I think I'd be like, yeah, McDonald's, you are killing it even more with that wizard hat on the double arches today. Liv says Metroid Prime shoulders. Indeed, that's exactly where we're going with this. I'm just kind of like sketching in here and trying to get like the base body form going on. I don't know that I'm gonna do like a full body because I don't think that I have time for like my workflow to make a full body, but you kind of have like a whole character just like jamming in there. That's so cool.
Yeah, I think like my favorite kind of like approach to characters is actually like starting with not a weird frame, but just starting with a bounding box
Mm-hmm.
and seeing like how I can actually fill the character up in that space like completely.
Nice. Yeah, you kind of have like this really unique um uh like motion and gesture going on with a lot of your pieces. And so when you go to like fill your frame with the character, so to speak, do you always have like an idea for how that's going to go, or do you just start making gesture lines and then just kind of see where it goes?
Um, Usually what it starts out is I'll have like an idea for a composition. I can actually show you is I start with these super crude like sticky notes where it's literally just trying to get like a basic idea of the character.
That's awesome.
Um, and then I'll usually bring it into like my iPad, sketch out the basic frame like I'm doing here, and then just slowly build from that. But usually it's like figuring out, I post a lot of my stuff to Instagram, so I'll usually stick with like the profile ratio for Instagram, and then I'll build off of that and try and fill the space. And
Nice.
that's usually just like a fun little restraint of like how can I make a really dynamic person or gesture fill this particular space.
So it's like a fun like challenge for you personally, like on top of the art of like doing the piece. It's just like how can I combine like a whole human and like get it into this one space. And I really also love like the exaggerated kind of anatomy too, where like filling in that top corner, like her hand is like so big. Honestly, I would never fight this girl. Like I would never want to battle her at all because she would just like bop me with one hand and that would be it. I would be done. No matter how like what I roll, no matter how magically strong I am, it just would not work.
Yeah.
Cornell
Yeah,
wants to know
actually,
what we're
like,
using to draw, by the way. So I think he
um,
means like I'm using the desktop version of Photoshop, and then I think you're using like a combination of like iPad and desktop, correct?
yeah, so I usually use my iPad just to draw, but since we're streaming this, I've got kind of like the sidecar
Mm-hmm.
setup where you can actually use iPad as a secondary monitor, but I've got Photoshop pulled up on it. And so I'm like using my iPad pencil.
Nice, nice. And then let's see. I'm making sure I haven't missed anything in the chat. What should I add, folks? I'm kind of at a loss for like how I should style her hair. I feel like every time I go for like warrior girl, I either give her like short hair or I give her like a long ponytail with like either shaved sides or um like her hair braided against the side, but I feel like I need to mix it up. So what do you guys think? Robzilla is in the chat too. What is up, Robzilla? It's good to see you, my friend. Let me see. I'm doing like side bangs for now just because she needs something. But I don't know. I'm trying to like also think like how practical would it be for like a serious warrior woman to have like beauty queen bangs. I'm not sure if that would be
I feel like
highly
that just makes
irregular.
her like more badass if she can like still fight with
Yes.
hair in her face.
Like she woke up like this and she is so styling and she doesn't even really have to work at it and her hair is pristine even like in the heat of battle.
Exactly.
Ronald says a mohawk. I'm kind of digging that, to be perfectly honest. Okay, hold on. We may have mohawk warrior woman, folks. It may happen. Give her like a little Superman curl where it falls in her face. Yeah, I think this is definitely it. And then I'm also thinking a possibility of like either an eye scar or like war paint. I'm not sure yet. Because girls with eye scars and war paint is like way cooler than without. I mean, I wish I had eye scars and war paint, but you know, there's like
I feel
getting the
like
scar
you're
and too much effort.
I feel like you're getting all these like crazy details on yours, and I'm just like, how can I make the hands bigger?
How can I enlarge these hands? That's great.
Like I like making like weirdly because I used to my like illustration processes I've drawn my entire life and it's been like getting more and more refined. But I was looking at work I did a few years ago and I hated drawing hands. Like you look at them and they're all these little like club fisted people.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I finally how I like drawing hands now. So now it's like my favorite feature to actually draw into a character.
That's awesome. When like a stressful element becomes something that you're proud of. That sounds really cool. I'm like in the same boat though as like I have been doing much better like drawing hands and stuff lately, but for a very long time I was like the classic well, my style is all of my characters have their hands in their pockets. Like, you know, like
That is very relatable.
it was like a serious thing for me for like a really long time where it's just like, no, this is just like what I wanted for this piece, and people are like, uh-huh, and I'm like, I swear this is what I wanted. But I kind of had to, I realized I had to train myself out of that, and so I have since been like practicing sketching hands. I'm definitely not gonna draw a hand for you guys today. That's not gonna happen because I want to have fun. But but you can rest assured at some point in the future there will be more VooDoo Val hands coming to a stream near you.
Amazing.
Just stopping in. Holy cow, Val, your hair. Oh yeah, so I forgot. I straightened my hair. I usually have like a righteous like half afro thing going on, or I smooth my hair back. But I wanted to see how long my hair has gotten, and so I straightened it. So I don't think anyone in chat has actually seen my hair straight before. So there's a few people who are freaking out about it.
Amazing.
All right, still struggling with hands, but I'm getting better, says Anthony Jackson. Good for you. And Sam says hands can be a lot of fun once they start making sense. That is so perfect. That's a perfect way of saying it, because that's the thing, is that every once in a while I draw a good hand, but for the most part they make no sense to me. I don't know what they are, or what they're for, or why we have them. Because if I can't draw them, why are they a thing?
Ooh, relatable.
All right, let's see. So we have Chad says I could give my girl Kylo hair. To be honest, I don't need any more excuses to draw things pertaining to Kylo Ren, so I'm not going to. And that is count number 1 of Kylo Ren has been brought up during a stream that I am on.
Amazing.
Who are your like favorite fantasy characters, Meredith? Like, do you have any like fantasy-esque kind of characters that really inspire you, or that just like kind of are your jam, so to speak?
I'm trying to think. I I don't know if this is a basic answer or not, but I am a huge Avatar: The Last Airbender fan.
I
So when
love
that all came
Avatar.
onto Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
I was so pumped that like drawing those sorts of characters when I was in like middle school or something was one of my favorite pastimes. So like drawing that in that style was kind of like how I got into illustration. Obviously, it's kind of been like adapted and stuff, but I love that series, Legend of Korra,
Yeah.
all of that. It was actually part of the inspiration for doing a monk character for D&D. Was basically
Nice.
just wanting to create my own like female version of Aang.
That's so cool. Yeah, I grew up with like like around like middle school, high school days, like with Avatar: The Last Airbender, and that was like one of the shows where all of the characters were like about my age at the time, and so I felt like I was like growing up with them, and I loved that show. I related so heavily to them. And the thing is like I kind of resemble Katara, and my brother looks like Sokka, and then my sister has like the same hairdo as Toph Beifong, so we were like them. Like my brother had like the little warrior's wolf tail, like ponytail and everything. And so it was like a serious like family show for us three, for sure.
Amazing.
What about you folks in chat? I want to know. I want to know what your favorite like fantasy-esque characters are. Like who speaks to you. And I also want to know any of you who are designing along with us. I'd like to know what kind of characters you're going for today. I gotta know. I want to know what to expect. While I'm currently trying to figure out like what shape these shoulder pads and pauldrons are gonna be. I had like kind of a way I was gonna do them, but I'm not sure. Let's see. I kind of have like this love for like fantasy costuming that's not necessarily uh functional, you know? Like sometimes I have a problem with stuff like if I take like a game or a movie or something really seriously, and I'm just like there's no way that this weird like female bikini armor is like taking care of her at all in battle. But then like sometimes I'm also just like I know that there is like so much detail and like beauty in some of like the, for example, like elf armor, you know, with all the filigree stylings and stuff. I know that it's so high fantasy that it can't even be useful, but at the same time I'm just like this is awesome. I don't care that it would never work. I just want to see it.
I think that's like what's fun about like fantasy illustration and characters is that you can kind of throw practicality out the window because you're in a fantasy realm.
Yeah, like maybe none of my characters' armor actually protects them because maybe they have a magic shield of energy around them, and so they just get to look styling out on the battlefield. Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Let's see. I've got like some reference up too, that I'm trying to keep in mind as well throughout this. I typically, anytime I'm illustrating, I have uh, like a couple images up of like maybe some other characters that I think kind of resemble the style I'm going for, and then I also like to have images, like for example for today I'll probably end up pulling up images of like real metal just to see if I can mimic it in the painting. So I'm kind of just like at this experimental weird phase where I'm trying to figure out like what the overall vibe is going to be before I can really start getting into the painting.
Mm.
I'm contemplating giving her like 80s rock star, like high pointy shoulder pads because no one can stop me. But we'll see. Flint Tracy says plus 10 to swagger. I'm into it. I like the way you think, sir. Plus 20 to grooviness. That's the only way I play D&D. Okay.
Yeah, and details. Lately, I really love giving characters like insane nails.
Really?
Yeah, like it's like this little detail that I think is fun just to add in. Like, so I'm giving my gal some like pointy stiletto nails, and it's gonna be great.
That's so funny because to be perfectly honest, I don't think I ever put nails on a character unless it's like intrinsic to the design of the character. Like, I love writing stories, and like trying to illustrate my characters from those stories. And I have like one character that happens to have like really long talons. So anytime I paint him, like he has nails, but I don't think I actually put nails on any of my other characters at all. Like that's that's crazy now that I'm like thinking of it. I don't
Yeah,
think I do.
it's definitely like one of those little details. Again, like if you're not thinking about drawing hands, you don't
Mm-hmm.
think to include them. But I think it's just because I like actually really enjoy drawing that feature in anybody that I draw. That I'm like, ah, how can I make like nails, which is usually such a mundane detail of one's hand, like actually cool feature.
Yeah, I know what you mean about that. Is like there's details maybe that other people don't do that just happen to be like a serious like art preference and like an enjoyable thing for you to illustrate. So you'll do it. Like I always, for whatever reason, I have to stop myself sometimes, but most of the characters I illustrate have like really, really defined like cheekbones and jaws because I love painting like that, almost like that when someone has like really strong cheekbones, then and like a square jaw or like a pointy jaw, there's this really satisfying thing to paint that's like that dip of like shadow and light or like a dimple
Mm.
in the cheek. And I love painting it, so I don't know, all of my all of my characters, men and women, like I would say like 90% of them, they all have like that bone structure, and I'm like, maybe I should change that because I just love doing it, and I'm like, I don't know.
I think part of the fun is like we draw this stuff because we enjoy it. So if that's one of your favorite details, go keep it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I think like I've noticed every once in a while somebody will say like, are all of your characters related? Do they all have they all have like the same lineage that gives them these cheekbones? And I'm like, listen, you draw your characters, I'll draw mine because I like this.
Amazing.
Eduardo, welcome in. Thank you so much. Sarah says, I always forget nails on my characters unless they're very glamorous and it's important. Exactly. Yes, me too. Good to see you. So happy you're streaming. Oh, this is Sarah. This is my friend Sarah from Twitch and Twitter. Correct? Welcome in, Sarah. It's so good to hear from you. I'm glad you're here to hang out with us. And feel free to design along. So for anyone who's maybe just jumping in and you don't know what the deal is here, Meredith and we're designing according to like a D&D fantasy theme, which can be interpreted however you like. And so we're designing some fantasy characters, but no matter what discipline of art you folks study or practice in, we invite you to interpret that theme and create a piece of art as well along with us. And towards the end of tomorrow's stream, before we say goodbye, we're actually going to pull up the Twitter and the Instagram and check out any artwork that has been posted on, like I said, Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off. So if you'd like to, even if it's not a finished piece, because these streams are limited on time, so sometimes I don't even finish my pieces, but just a work in progress, or just to say, hey, this is what I was working on with you guys. Please share them, because we definitely want to see what you folks are making with us. And I'm super eager to hear what anybody else is working on, or any suggestions, any design ideas, or anything for my gal here, because I love putting your guys' ideas into the chat, or into the painting. Putting your ideas into the chat. That's not what I meant to say. And thank you, Sam. Sam Peterson has posted the hashtag in the chat, so you guys can copy paste. And I've got kind of like some cool, like, ornate armor kind of going here. I think I might change the pauldrons, because I thought about doing like puffy sleeves, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and give her like something maybe a little softer and a little more menacing.
Lately, I've really enjoyed giving like any of my characters patterned clothing and like making that super graphic.
Oh, I love that you just added. Oh.
My actual D&D character, I think I chose like the Way of the Four Elements, again, totally inspired Avatar.
Yeah.
So I'm giving her like a kind of earth floral themed robe.
Nice. I remember, like, when I was little, I used to, like, kind of wonder, like, if I was a bender, like, what kind of bender would I be? And I was always stuck between choosing, Fire Nation or, Earth Kingdom. Like, those were my two things. I couldn't tell which one I liked the best. 'Cause I felt like, if I was a part of Avatar: The Last Airbender, I would definitely like be like a loner on my own with like a super cool outfit, because duh. And then I was like, but if I had fire or I had like earth bending, I could totally fend for myself like super easily. Like I could cook food, I'd never be cold. If I was like from the Fire Nation, I could like fight super cool. And then if I was like from the Earth Kingdom, like insta shelter everywhere I go, right? Like I could just like pull a house up out of the ground. And also I just think that like the style of martial arts that the Earth Kingdom was like based on, like earthbending was based on, is super, super awesome looking. So yeah. I just thought that's what I want to do so bad. What about you? I mean, I know you mentioned like Avatar Aang, but like, do you have any other favorite nations?
Oh yeah, I definitely it was more like the Avatar style that I was inspired by, but I think personality-wise, I always thought I'd be a firebender, but I thought waterbending was the coolest.
Cool.
Because that scene in the like season finale of the first season, where the Northern Water Tribe just like fighting everything, it was just so sick.
It's so
the most
cool.
Like least practical of all of them, because you just named off like all of these reasons why like fire and earth is practical. But I thought like the fighting sequences for the Water Tribe were just like so sick.
Yeah. There's actually, if anyone in chat is like interested, there's actually a lot of videos where they're like behind the scenes videos of like the creation of the show, and they did a really awesome job of like making the different bending styles, and a lot of the cultures like based off of real world cultures, and like fighting styles, like forms of like kung fu and karate and stuff like that. And so they actually have like footage of people doing katas and like performing martial arts so that the animators could see them move. And it's so cool to like watch like real-time videos of real people doing stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're water bending. This is so neat, it's real.
I actually remember those videos too, and thinking that that was such a like sick detail.
Yeah.
It wasn't just random. Each of them was like really purposeful and thoughtful. Like I think waterbending was based off of Tai Chi, which
Yeah,
was just, like,
yeah.
obviously really fluid and like just made a lot of sense narratively, which I thought was brilliant. Um,
They did. They,
which
they
and I
put so much love
remember,
into it.
yeah, and then M Night Shyamalan came along and like absolutely destroyed it with the action, and
Yeah.
I just cried.
I didn't finish it. I was like,
Oh, it was
I'm
so
gonna
bad.
remember my childhood the way I want
It was
to.
so bad.
It was not what I wanted.
But then like Netflix teased that they were actually going to do a live action one with the original creators.
Yeah.
Which like me and my friends that are also like obsessed with the show have been like desperately waiting for it to come out, or some sort of teaser. And just there's just one single image that's floating on the internet, nothing else.
Yeah, I've been like scouring and hunting. It's kind of like when somebody said that I don't know if you're familiar with Vampire Hunter D. Somebody said that it was being picked up for a television show, and that was like, there's a film, it's like an anime film called Vampire Hunter D, that I watched when I was a kid, and it was like so cool because the world is like, it's set like tens of thousands of years in the future, but they have completely different technology than like they have spaceships and they have like lights and they have robots and stuff, but it's all like fantasy, like 1700s, and all of the technology is like ornate Victorian style spaceships and stuff. And like the main character has like a filigree, like a Victorian filigree robot steed. Like it is the coolest stuff ever. It's so dope. And there's like monsters and vampires and like, rescuing villagers from stuff. It's so fantastic and amazing. I was just like, this is cool. But somebody said at some point, like, oh yeah, we're gonna make a show. We're gonna make a new TV show for this, and I was like waiting for it. That was like 3 years ago, and so I've been doing the same thing I did when they teased Avatar: The Last Airbender. I was like, I'm gonna find. If it's on the internet, I'm going to find some sort of weird, like, obscure screenshot that somebody has posted for this project, and I can't find it. I think they lied to me. I'm sad. I'll never forget watching the Agni Kai for the first time. Talk about stress. Oh yeah, Panda.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Let's see. Watching oh yeah, watching Aang fight the Fire Lord. Yeah. One of the moments in Avatar: The Last Airbender that I have never forgotten ever was, obviously, like, I know a lot of people are fans of like the arc where everybody goes to the Fire Nation and dress like Fire Nation people, and Aang's like flameo hot men and all that kind of stuff. But I love that one part where like Izula, who is arguably like one of the most terrifying characters, especially when she goes bonkers, is like hanging out, and like Aang and everybody, they're like undercover hanging out, and they run into like regular kids from the Fire Nation, and those kids look at them like, do you know who we are? We're Sean and Ranjan. And he's looking at them like, I'm the Avatar, but I'm not gonna say anything.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that episode.
Yeah, I think that was one of my favorite arcs. And then you realize that everybody that ever got their butt kicked by Toph has been lying and saying she's a giant, terrifying man instead of a super cute young girl because they couldn't deal with it.
Yeah. She was like honest. Toph was actually one of my favorite characters.
Oh, for sure.
Because just like I loved the complexity of her character.
Yeah, same.
Being inhibited by like, I'm using. I was like, why is my brush not working? Because I'm using the eraser. That'll do it.
I do that all the time. I'm like, wait, am I on like a white brush, or am I not selected on the right color? And it takes me like 10 seconds to like look over and check, but I don't. I just wonder why the brush is wrong, not why I could be wrong. I do that like almost every time I paint.
Oh gosh, Photoshop has crashed on me and I'm live. This is great.
Oh no, it's totally fine. You know what?
We're fine. We're fine.
Okay.
If that was more of a joke, that's what I thought was
happening. Okay. Oh no, alright.
My worst fear has happened.
I actually had that happen to me one time, and it was mostly because I didn't like update a bunch of stuff and it crashed, and then I was like, I'm live, what do I do? And then when I pulled it up like back, like I restarted it, and I was so excited. I was like, we had a crash, but Photoshop recovered everything I was working on because I'm terrible and didn't save, and I love you, Photoshop.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh.
Yes. Speaking of saving, I'm going to save my work right now.
Oh gosh. That was a good call.
Yeah. Sarah's like, oh no, Toph sounds like tough. She is tough. She is super tough. All right.
Did you ever watch Legend of Korra?
I started it and didn't finish it, but I liked what I saw so far. I also loved the throwback and the fact that the guy who was supposed to be Fire Lord Zuko's like grandson was voiced by Zuko, basically.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny because I was like, why do I hear my husband's voice? Oh, it's another voice, another character he voices in the show. This is great.
So funny. Yeah, I brought that up because there was this one episode, I forgot what season it is, but they like go back to the story of the first Avatar, and they do it in an entirely different animation style that's like watercolor.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And it's so beautiful, and I just remember that being like one of those like really memorable moments in animation of just being like they went an entirely different style for the sake of like this story throwback that I just thought like narratively I just think that they always did such a brilliant job.
Yeah.
That I loved that episode.
I remember that I was like, whoa, they are doing a new thing here. This is really cool. I think that there was like a time where they did something similar to that in Avatar, where if you guys remember, where they were explaining like that about that big like dragon turtle out in the middle of nowhere that was like teaching him how to do the bending removal thing, which was cool. I'm awful at organizing my files. That's why I put off saving so much, says Sarah. Well, if anyone is interested, I actually just did a talk for Cancelled Con last weekend, specifically about how I organize the inside of my Photoshop files as the layers relate to a delicious hamburger. So if anyone is interested in seeing that, that is on the internet for any of you to check out if you need some help organizing your files.
When I like finally took the time to myself organize my files, that was such a lifesaver when it came to illustration, especially when you want to start editing color things. Like, it's kind of a pain to get started, but it's so helpful.
Yeah, once you do it and you really start getting into the groove and like kind of building the habit of organizing things and and everything, it's actually, it gets much easier than you think. I think when you first start, because it's kind of tedious, especially if you're like me and like every time I'm painting, I'm almost like have no patience for getting to the next layer. Like as soon as I decide like I need a new layer now, then I'm just like boom, there it is. I don't take any time out of my process to like name it sometimes, and I always regret it. But once you kind of like calm down and you get like into a healthy routine of like keeping your files clear, it gets much easier over time. So it doesn't stay as daunting as it may seem when you first start out.
I've chosen this color for her pants, and I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Um, I actually kind of like that color. Like I feel like it seems um like you could do so much with it because it's not quite a blue and it's not quite a green, at least to me. So there's like a
Mm.
lot of really nifty stuff you could do, and I think it looks super good with that orange. I've always liked like an off blue with like a burnt orange.
Yeah.
Also, my girl just got like a heavy dose of like angry brow all of the sudden.
Love it. Let's see.
I'm thinking about giving her a like lip scar. I think that would be super cool. I used to have 1,000 unnamed layers. I'm very tidy now, and life is less stressful. Wow, Sam. I think the most I had was like 600 or 700, somewhere in there, as far as like unnamed layers, where I was just like, my life is a mess. I don't know where anything is in this file. What do I do? Um, but I had to like quickly train myself out of that because that was getting to be awful. Okay, starting to like, I'm gonna pull up some reference for faces, because I'm liking like the shape of like the style of like her armor and stuff that I've got in, and I'd like to put in a face, but I notice sometimes if I don't pull up reference specifically for faces and like look at them while I'm drawing, my faces tend to look really flat, and like not at all what I'm going for. So I have to make sure that I really like put some effort into like looking and trying to mimic a human face. Otherwise, it just looks very what's the word I'm thinking, just like flat and like nondescript. And it's I definitely think I have like a default face when I don't know exactly what kind of face I'm trying to draw, and I'm trying to break away from that for this illustration, so bear with me here.
Say that was like this breakthrough I had when I like earlier years of illustrating, where I was really stubborn and I was like, I'm gonna draw everything from memory. It was just stupid because then nothing ever looked like proportional.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
as soon as
I
I was
I
like,
was the
oh,
same.
people are onto something with like rec photo, that's not cheating. It makes it look so much better.
I think there's like kind
Um,
of a weird at least in my experience, like kind of talking to people, like kind of a weird stigma with like using reference and how you should use reference and everything. And I've noticed a lot of people kind of express to me over the years that I've been like broadcasting my work, that there are like people worry that they may get like a little bit of like imposter syndrome if they're using too much reference, or people may worry that like if they can't draw it from memory, then maybe that means that they're not a good designer or a good painter. And honestly, I think that there's probably a lot of stuff that we can draw and stuff without reference. Like I know like I could sit and do like a whole character without really truly looking at reference if I wanted to, but you know, the truth is when you keep that fact in your head while you're designing and you have a clear plan or at least a clear like idea that you would like to try, I really do think that work turns out a lot better. Um, and I don't I kind of had some of it like towards the beginning of my career where I worried like, well, what if I am using reference and people see my reference and then my piece is not as good as the reference I used, maybe. And I was like self-conscious about it, but like at the end of the day, a lot of us are doing art because we love art, because we have a passion for design, because we have a passion for creating things. And we learn, yeah, maybe from going to school and maybe from talking about like learning the basics and everything. But one of the main learning points of like being an artist and creating what you want to create is learning from other people who make things that touch your heart, right? Because you see
Mm-hmm.
things in the world and you're like, oh, that's so cool, I gotta make something like this. Or you know, you see another creation and you're like, I gotta do something now. And I don't think that it's bad to like kind of look at other like images and things for reference sometimes to inspire you while you're working on your own piece, because it kind of keeps that passion going, and just like keep maybe, you know, with other creations that you're looking at for like mood or for inspiration, keep a few images of like real life fact for like anatomy and things up while you're working. And I think that even if your art is sometimes similar to what you're looking at, it's not a bad thing. It just kind of keeps the flow going, and keeps your eye on the ball. And for me, it keeps me inspired. If sometimes if I'm not looking for like at reference while I'm painting, I'm just like, why do I hate what I'm painting? And it's because I'm looking at like an unfinished sketch that I didn't like very much from the beginning, and I need to get some cool stuff up on my screen so I can stay motivated to do what I'm doing. You know?
I was like, you might start off using reference a lot, but I find that then you become more familiar. Like for me, it was like out of anatomy. Like I drawing hands, drawing figures was actually looking at a lot of reference of like photography of people in motion.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you like familiarize yourself with uh, those postures is what also makes it easier for you to start committing things to memory,
Yeah,
and it will
yeah.
fill up natural.
Yeah, because you do start developing like a visual database, so to speak, right? After you get
Yeah.
comfortable with things, and I think like yeah, once there's like certain things that you're comfortable with, then it's not you know, it's not a need. But I think that like I don't think that using reference should be something any artist should be ashamed of. I kind of noticed that with people, like the way that some people spoke to me about using reference, that I felt like I sensed there's some people that seem to feel guilty about like needing the reference, and I'm like, don't feel guilty about learning. You know?
Yeah, agreed. And I was like, I was totally in that camp. So I like get that stigma and that fear. But when you realize like how much freedom it opens you up to actually enjoy the process because you're no longer struggling with like that one detail, it actually allows you to kind of like develop even your own style because
Yeah,
you become more comfortable with things.
yeah, I agree.
This is turning out way more colorful than I was expecting, but I'm here for it.
I am so in love with the like the flowers and things that you were illustrating on this. It's like given me like a super like kind of a kimono vibe. And like the colors are I'm a huge fan of purple. Like it's like one of my favorite things ever. So I'm just like I'm into it. I'm vibing right now with your work.
Amazing.
Also, I do want to point out I can't believe it's almost been a full hour. That is
Shoot.
like bizarre to me that it has already been this long. But we are going to be coming to a close pretty soon. So, um, I'm gonna say maybe we will come to a halt in like 5 minutes and just kind of show off what we've done for the day to everyone, and then notice or know everyone in chat that even though we are going to be taking off pretty soon, we are going to be back tomorrow working on some more stuff. And any of you folks who decided that you wanted to create with us, tomorrow is the day where we are going to kind of check out any of your work that you have posted. And don't be shy. Your work does not need to be 100% perfect and finished. Even if you just like did a doodle on a napkin while you were watching us, we just want to see the cool stuff that you guys made, and the interesting concepts you folks came up with. Because it's fun, it's fun to see what people were making with us. So definitely post those if you can. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You can post some of them today. You can post them ahead of time for tomorrow if you like, or you can, if you'd like to work a little bit longer on your designs and post at the wire tomorrow, that's cool too. But I'm going to be kind of scouring social media today after the stream and tomorrow to make sure that I catch all of your guys' awesome things that you share with us. Thanks, Val. I'll be sure to bump the stream tomorrow too. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Sarah. I'm glad everybody's having a good time. I'm trying to make these eyes like feminine but like fearsome. And like kind of like rough too. Kind of like Furiosa from Mad Max Fury Road. Like I thought she was like so cool, but she was also so rugged and like unkept. It was such a cool juxtaposition. Flip my canvas a little bit and see if I need to change anything. Love Furiosa. Yes, Furiosa is so dope. I almost thought about giving like this character like face paint down the forehead just for the heck of it, because that would be cool, like a shout out to her, but I wasn't sure if it would look cool or not. So maybe we'll think about that for tomorrow. Give her like some like a sick like Furiosa forehead. I don't know.
Love it.
And there goes the start of the cheekbones I do every time. Oh yeah. Signature Val cheekbones. There they go.
That's it.
Okay. Getting like part of her mohawk going in here. And then I think it is getting about time to say goodbye, however. So I'm gonna kind of try and start to not come to a close on this, but like frame it up so that I can kind of show a little bit of what I've done during the stream. In the meantime, where is the best place, Meredith, for members of chat to kind of find you and see your work and keep track of the cool stuff that you're making after our streams?
Yeah, I post a lot to my Instagram, which is literally just Meredith underscore Shomburg. It's kind of a mix of personal and art, but I've been moving more into like posting all of my like illustration work there. Yeah, I think Instagram is probably the best place to keep up with me.
We should be back, however.
Okay.
And we're gonna need to say goodbye anyhow. So hopefully it has connected back, and we can give everybody a little goodbye. Like Meredith said, she is. It's probably best to check out her artwork and things over on Instagram. And I think that thank you, Sam, has posted the link there to her portfolio and to her Instagram. I appreciate that. Best place to find me is on Twitter, or I've got most of my portfolio up on Behance, so you guys can kind of check out anything that I do on the other days when I'm not chilling on Adobe Live. But I really appreciate everybody joining us and hanging out. Meredith, it was an absolute blast drawing with you today. It was so much fun.
For tomorrow,
round 2. Oh yeah, I'm so excited. For now, we do have to take off, but thank you so much, everyone. Definitely give Meredith a follow on social media, and we will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific time. Adios, folks.